What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. A lot of grading talk this week. Some of it by design, some of it, companies do stuff and it is what it is. Had a submission video earlier this week, did the gem rate breakdown yesterday, and today we got a little bit of news out of SGC. They have a new label, kind of, along with some pricing tier adjustments. I don't want to say price change because their price has not changed, but a little tier adjustment. First thing, they have eliminated their 1 to 5 day turnaround time thing. Essentially, now everything is just straight $30 a card. Because their turnaround times are so fast, they don't need to have a higher tier for faster turnaround because their $30 turnaround is ultra fast. The other thing that they came out and said, and once again, this is, I guess I'll say a friend of the channel, Peter from SGC, that no upcharges for ultra modern cards. Period. Flat across the board. No upcharges for ultra modern cards. The other thing that they rolled out, they did announce, I should add this, current turnaround times at 5 to 10 business days. They're overinflating that number. As of right now, they're running a little bit quicker than that based off what I could see from various social media posts across multiple different platforms in regards to when people are getting cards back. But SGC is known to do that. They like to inflate that number just a little bit to give them a little wiggle room. Smart. Very, very smart. And then the final thing that they did was announce a change to their label. Really, really like this. It's not grader's notes like I would like to see from one of the big four companies, but it is a step in the right direction. And I wish all the companies would do this. Like, PSA, CSG, BGS, especially PSA. Like, if you're obviously you're watching, what SGC is doing, you guys should 100% steal this. Every grading company should steal this. Prior to today, basically, if you sent in a card and there was something wrong with it, they would slab it authentic. And when I mean something wrong with it, like what they're listing here, altered, trimmed, miscut, color added, whatever, more so on vintage, whatever, PMGs, that was the example that Peter used. They would label it authentic. You get a big old A on it and you get it sent back to you. And you have no idea why it got the A. So essentially they're putting like old PSA qualifiers kind of on it. It's not that. The PSA qualifiers were more like, like OC because the card was super off-centered. But that's what this reminds me of. This is fantastic. From a transparency perspective, letting the submitter know why the card got what it got, and then, if they're potentially going to sell it, the person buying it or trading for it or whatever knows why it was labeled altered. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Fantastic. So these are the four that they give examples of. I don't know if these are the only four, but you had altered, evidence of trimming, miscut, and color added. So if you send a card in and it flags for one of these, instead of just getting a big old capital A that frankly really didn't look that great, would now be labeled with authentic on it and a descriptor as to why it was labeled authentic. Absolutely fantastic. Is this going to pull vault SGC into the stratosphere? No. These are just nice little changes. Peter even said in the little Instagram video, you can go check it out on the SGC Instagram page, that this is not they have more things coming. More things are coming. This is their pre-announcement. He made it sound like there's an announcement coming around the National. We'll see what that all entails. I personally believe there'll be some sort of price drop involved there. We'll see. I could be wrong. I know no inside information. This is just me speculating. And maybe they got something else in the works to surprise all of us. Listen, I've been plenty critical of SGC over the years since I've had the YouTube channel. I frankly, and Peter's well aware of this, we discussed it on the interview that I had with him, I'm not a big fan of their slabs. I'm just not. I don't like the way they feel in hand. I hate the oversizedness of them. I'm not a huge fan of the label. But they, by far and away, have the best customer service in the industry when it comes to grading companies, at least at the big four. 1,000%, they are probably the best to work with. They also have the best face man. Peter is a fantastic face of a company, and they are also probably the best at transparency and communication. I think they learned, once again, I talked about this with Peter when he was on the channel. I think they learned an extremely valuable lesson 2 years ago when He did the whole send me all your cards things. They got slammed, didn't communicate, and they took a ton of criticism for that. Myself included. I made multiple videos slamming them for that. It is nice to see them learn from that mistake and flip that around and literally turn it into a strength. They are probably the most transparent, out front, best communication, whatever you want to put on it, company of all of them. I would probably put CSG behind that, then probably PSA, and Beckett in a distant fourth. There's been a lot of Beckett talk lately on the old social spheres, between Instagram, stuff I've been doing or whatever. And these are the reasons why. Imagine Beckett coming out and saying, acknowledging some of the things, what they're doing, what they're not doing. That's what people want. I talked about it with both Peter and when I had Andy and Max on. People just want these companies to be upfront with us. Just tell us what is going on. I think PSA learned that as well when Nat took over, and that's one thing. Now, I don't think they're as good as SGC in regards to communication, but they're pretty damn good. There's just not someone going around and doing interviews being a face of a company like Peter doesn't, like CSG has. Nat does some stuff, but not a ton. I think what SGC is doing is setting the standard in regards to PR and customer service. I think PSA is missing a little bit of that. Like I said, they're good about saying, they have definitely gotten much, much better in regards to, hey, here's where we're at with the backlog, giving us numbers. PSA is really good about that. There's still some stuff they're really vague on. Like when the card trimming scandal came out with the Contenders football a couple months ago, I think it was the beginning of the year, a couple months. I don't remember exactly when it was, but when the Contenders auto thing came out with the card trimming and PSA was wrapped up in that. Yeah, they delisted the numbers right away. And then that was it. We never heard anything else about it, which I knew exactly that's what would happen. They wouldn't mention anything at all about it. Someone should have come up to the front and said, listen, this is what happened. We have made corrections that this, won't happen again to the best of our abilities, and yada, 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 run down X, Y, and Z. When SGC had that Pokemon issue where they graded the fake Pokemon card, Peter was out in front of it. That's very important, and I really think that's all we want. That's why people are angry. It's why a lot of people are frustrated with Beckett, because they're just doing nothing. PSA, you could see the improvements that they're doing from a macro level. Like I said, they don't have a true face, in my opinion, but their communication is way, way better. SGC obviously has Peter and the rest of his team, and they do a great job about being extremely transparent and communicating things to the community and their customers. CSG also seems like they're in that mold of SGC in regards to being responsive to their customer base. Obviously, they switched the label, they switched the grading scale. They're out there. Andy is out there kind of, preaching the gospel of CSG to people. Max is out there doing stuff. That stuff's very, very important for us as consumers to kind of put a face with a company and help build trust and brand loyalty with that company. So, once again, shout out to SGC. I use them for some stuff. In my mind, some stuff makes sense with them. Some stuff doesn't. Not going to send every single card to them. I will use them on occasion. I do wish they had a better holder. I wish they had a better label. But there's a place for all four of the major companies. Even BGS still has a small niche case on when to use them for certain things. I just don't think they come up very often when you follow the flow chart of where should I send this card to. You have to go down quite a tangled web of a maze of a flow chart to get to them, in my opinion, for when it makes sense to use BGS in the current marketplace, whether that's for secondary market value and also the way that they've treated their customers over the last 2 years. That's all I have for you guys and girls today. Like I said, just a quick little SGC update, some loose grading talk. Try to get away from grading talk. It's crazy lately. It's just a lot of nonsense going on in the grading world, as there always is. Smash the like button if you haven't. Subscribe if you're not. We'll catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.